I almost messed up. Good thing I didn't get anything super important said in there. We just talked about the weather before I hit record. I don't have my sticky note. I keep forgetting to put my sticky note up for Ignite to record it. So I graciously thank you immensely. Thank you. All right. So I got some hands up. You guys know what the daily success system is. So we're going to hit on it real quick. So I want to make sure everybody understands it. This is your activity-based lead generation, lead follow-up, putting it out there that you're in real estate, being all you can be. The goal behind this is for you to have 10 conversations. Now, I leave it up to you. 10 conversations a day about real estate. If you're a dual career agent, you're working 2 jobs, then that actually should be easier than most because you're around people. Now, you can only do that once because everybody you work with doesn't want to have that same conversation every single day. So then it can get harder. However, to start out, that could be a good place to practice your conversations with people on what you're doing in life, whether it be real estate or not real estate, whatever it is, right? So 10 conversations a day or a week, I'll give you that, or a week, depending on your ability. Also depends on your commitment. Adding 10 contacts a day. This is your lead generation. This is what we've been talking about. We did lead generation yesterday. We're going to talk about some lead follow-up and making sure that we're interacting with all our leads in our database today. So 10 contacts a day or 10 a week, again, depending on your lifestyle and what you've got going on in your life. And let's not forget the fact that we need to make sure that we're doing note cards. 10 note cards, super simple. Even if you do it a week, it's only 2 a day. Note card to anybody, pick somebody, send it to a teacher, send it to somebody you used to work with, send it to an old college mate or whomever it might be. Who's familiar with the 10-5-1 social media engagement?
Isn't it 10 clicks, 5 likes?
You're on the path.
I don't know what the one is.
All right. So it's
comment?
actually, go ahead.
I was just saying the one comment. I'm not familiar with it.
5 comments.
It's
5
one
comments.
direct
5
message.
comments and 1
Oh.
DM or private message.
Somebody's looking at the book.
I'm not. I
Oh,
could say
sounded like it. So it's 10 likes. You just want to interact with at least 10 posts is the goal. Okay. And then your 5 are your 5 engagements of interacting with a post, actually commenting on the post. Now I'll tell you this, it's just not the 5 posts. There's another rule inside of that 5. So there's a 5-5-5 rule. You should be posting to social media daily, at least once a day. You should be doing something. Now, if you don't like, that's correct. If you don't like social media and it's not your thing, I get it. I never force it on anybody. If it's something you want to get into, this is a very good way to start interacting with social media and getting people out there. 1 post a day, it can be anything. Command makes that easy. You can schedule a post out. You can sit down over the weekend, like me, in sub-zero temperatures in Maryland for some reason. I can stay in the house and I can create a bunch of social posts. I can put them in Command, and Command will post them for me. But the rule of 5s is 5 minutes before you post, you interact with 5 posts with 5 words or more. So when you comment and it's somebody's birthday, for example, you're not just gonna put happy birthday and a couple of emojis. The emojis don't count. It's the words. So dig a little bit deeper in your, what's that little thing called, a dictionary, and find other words to put in there with that happy birthday type situation. Okay. Miranda, you've had your hand up. I don't know if you still have it up from when I asked the question earlier. So I'll ask you first. And then Frank, I just saw you put your hand up also.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Frank, did you have something you want to share? Or was it
Yeah,
just...
I did have a question on the
Good.
5 or the 10 likes and the 5 engagements. Is this just with our own personal, like say our Facebook page that we're like friends and families and people that we follow or follow us? Or is this like also kind of like scrolling through TikTok, finding a video and engaging that way just to kind of put yourself out there more on other content?
That's a great question. And its main focus is your database. Here's the thing. We all know on social media that we only see the same people on our feeds on a regular basis,
Right.
right?
That's why I was asking because sorry not to interrupt because I'm a part-timer. I have another job. And so like my socials, my circles as far as my work goes, it's like a pretty small office and it's the same like, 15, 20 people that I'm engaging with. So social media is like the only ones where I can still like reach out to people. But new to this state. I moved from out of state. So all my other people are in my sphere are people that I can't really do real estate with because they're out of
Yes,
state.
you can. Never say that. You just got me on a tangent. We're talking lead generation, but we're going to do it anyways. Lee is looking at me like I'm crazy. All right. Never, ever say they're out of state. You can't do anything with them. That is not true in any way, shape, or form. I love this when it happens. We have this wonderful thing in this ecosystem of real estate in general across the country and inside of Keller Williams and inside the Command platform, and it's called referrals. How many market centers do we have across the country?
Oh, many.
Right, we're 200,000 agents or something like that. I think it is with NKW. It might be more. I can't remember. And we had 800 market centers, 600. I don't remember the number, but we got enough market centers throughout the country and the world that there's always a referral you can have. Matter of fact, some of your best, Frank, you're in a really good position, in my opinion, particularly. Well, let me take this. Again, I haven't talked to you guys yet.
Mhm.
Don't worry, I'm going to introduce myself because nobody knows me. I'm going to get to it, I promise. You just got me off on a sidetrack right now.
All right.
That's okay. How many people want to hear our dual career? You're working another job. Raise your hand so I can see it. Put your virtual hand up, whatever it may be. Okay. You have probably the best opportunity to learn and grow a business all at once. And I know you're all sitting there like, what are you talking about? So here's the deal. You can really, truly master the art of what we're going to talk about tonight. Lead follow-up, some database management, 36 touches, communicating with people just to tell them you're in the business. And when they reach out to you, Frank, I'm going to use you for a second. I'm going to call you up. Frank, where are you at?
I'm in Southern California.
All right. So you're in SoCal. I'm in Maryland. We used to be buddies at college up at Penn State, wherever. It doesn't matter. And I keep getting your emails. You call me every quarter, every 90 days. I'm hearing from you. You're texting me, whatever the case may be. And I know you're in the business. And then I call you up and I go, Frank, I need to sell my house. And you're going to go, well, let's flip the script. You call me because I'm going to be the one doing the script. So I'm going to like, Frank, you know what? That's awesome. And I'm going to help you out. Now, I don't live there in SoCal. I can't actually come and sell your house for you yet. I have an amazing network of agents at Keller Williams across the country. I'm going to find the closest market center to you. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to interview agents for you, and then I'm going to connect you with an agent. Can I ask you a couple questions before I start that process?
Absolutely.
And you guys are going to, this is, Frank, you actually are leading us right into our content, matter of fact, by the way. I've got some numbers I'm going to show you in a minute. So real quick, what's important to you about the agent that I'm going to find for you? Obviously, they're not going to be as smart and as talented and as good looking as I am. I'm going to do my best though. Okay. So what's the most important thing to you about an agent that I can find for you?
Honestly, I think probably it would be trust. I want to make sure that they're going to be able to take care of my client because it reflects on me as well, or if it's a family member or a friend.
Okay. So now you're saying that from your perspective. Now think about asking that question to the person, your friend, right? You're the one that I called. Or you're staying in touch with me, however you want to do the role play.
Right.
And now I'm asking you what's important to you. Like I can't represent you, Frank. I know you already know me, like me, and trust me, and I can't represent you. So when I find somebody, obviously, again, they can't make two of me. What's going to be the most important thing you want me to ask these agents before I send anybody your way?
If they have experience, if they're knowledgeable in their field, if they know the area.
Correct. And it's geographical as well. So when you're sitting there in SoCal, it's I need somebody who knows this type of area because our home is unique, whatever the case may be, right? So, and here's the thing, referral business is your mailbox money. You guys can sit back, practice your contracts, practice your talk tracks, practice everything while you're sitting at home and sitting at your job. And the best thing that you're going to be able to master is communications. You're going to be talking to people so much that when they call you, it's about honesty and transparency of, hey, Frank, I'm a dual career agent. I have another full-time job and I'm really, really working to go full-time in real estate. And I'm not going to steer you wrong and represent you when I know I don't have the time to give you in your transaction. Yet in my office, I have 4 people that I've partnered up with that are amazing. I got a luxury agent. I've got somebody who specializes in military relocation. I've got somebody who loves first-time home buyers. And I got a listing agent that will blow your socks off. So it doesn't matter what you need. I have the resources. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to be involved. So you and I know each other. So when I pass you off to Cindy, if Cindy does something or doesn't communicate in some way and you're like, I just don't know how to say anything to her, just come to me. I'll go with her, especially if this is an inner office type situation. Okay. Does that make sense? I don't want to go too long on that.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys have a great position to be in when it comes to this stuff. All right. All right. So real quick, I told you I was going to introduce myself. I kind of got off my little tangent there, but it's okay. So my name's Matt Verdon. It's on the screen. I'm a rainmaker, agent, a trainer, a coach, certified KWU trainer. I'm a RPR. If you guys are familiar with RPR, NARPR, I'm a certified RPR trainer. I'm part of my state Real Estate Education Association. I'm part of the National Real Estate Education Association. I'm I do this recently because it's still fresh. So I'm the artist formerly known as Market Center Tech Trainer. So I've spent 2 decades. I've spent a decade in the real estate business now, and most of that has been in a leadership role. I've served as an agent service coordinator, a productivity coach twice, and a Market Center Tech Trainer was the last role I held. And when it was cool back in the day when Command first came out, I was a tech ambassador because that was the cool title. Then we graduated to even cooler titles. So that's me. I'm going to put my contact information in the chat right now for you guys. If you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. I'm always willing to help out in any way shape that I can. So daily success system, make sure that you're doing it. Engage with your people on a regular basis. The reason I put this in the front of today's content is because today's content is about engagement. It's about lead follow-up. It's about talking to your database, because we can lead generate every single day and we can meet new people, right? In here, we got to add 10 contacts a day. That's great. I can add somebody to my database. If I'm not talking to them, then what good is me adding people to my database, right? All right, so life of a lead. Have you guys seen this before or anything along this lines of this and had a conversation around life of a lead?
Mhm.
Okay, a couple of you.
Yeah.
So life of a lead is right now it's averaging 7 to 10 years before somebody does a transaction. And our goal is to be top of mind for these people on a regular basis. So at the top of these arches, right, on these hills, on the mountains, whatever you want to call them, you see the word move. That's because they were in a transaction. They did the transaction that day. The very next day, they're starting down the slope. Now, you don't want to ignore them, because if you ignore them, you start to fade out of their minds. You start to fade out of their minds. And then as they hit the bottom of that slope and they start to come back up the hill, now they're starting to thinking about buying again or selling again or whatever that's going to occur. By the time they get back to the top of the hill again, guess what? You're not the person they're calling because you didn't talk to them. The whole purpose of having your database and communicating to it is so that every time they hit the top of that hill, you're the one they're thinking about. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts, questions? Told you we're gonna talk it up tonight. I can
Those would be the people you'd send the note cards to.
That's good. I like that. They're the ones that won't answer your phone and won't answer the text message, so you just drop a note card to them.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? There's that. It's that way, right? We all have different personality traits. We all have different ways of doing things, right? Where's our Gen Z people? Where's our millennials? Where's our Gen X, right? We can do all of that if you want to, and we all have different ways of doing it. How many of you on here right now, when your phone rings, you're like, oh, silence. I don't want to answer that right now. I can't people right now. You got to ask yourself, can you ever people? You can. It's just on your terms, right?
Mm.
Like here's, you guys, I really went through, I have classes I'm teaching virtually for in Michigan. It's TCPA, do not call. And those crickets, I really loaded up my control board over here. So here's what happens when you're in one generation and on, and here's what happens in the other. If my phone rings, this is what you get. Now, how many of you, when your phone rings, it does this?
Mine does.
Sometimes.
It's
If
on,
I'm
it's
at
on,
work,
Yeah.
or it does nothing.
And I
Right?
made the joke with my wife. I was like, man, do you remember the day we used to pay for ringtones? And now we just keep our phones on silent.
Yep. Yep. You keep it on silent, it's on vibrate all the time. We can't do that in this business, you know? So you got to be mindful of it because one of these people is going to call you. One of these people are going to call you. And you want to be able to take that call so that you can actually get the business out of it. Okay. So lead follow-up, the framework. On this screen right now, you're looking at possible business, probable business, and profitable business. What do you guys think? What does that mean?
people you meet, people you communicate with, and the people you do business with.
That's a very quick, simple way to put it. I like it. That's good. So, possible business is your lead generation. These are the leads you're bringing in. These are people that you've met, people you're gathering contact information from, and now you need to convert them. Your probable business, in short, is you're communicating to them and you're starting to build a relationship so that you can actually get into business with them. You got to keep in mind our whole job here is to make sure that we are talking with people, getting them to know us, like us, and then trust us. That we're not going to hit the profitable and we're not going to hit the business aspect until they can trust us. So the probable or the possible is we just met them. The probable is they know us now, they're starting to like us. And then the profitable is they're an actual contact in our database and they're starting to trust us. Then they're going to get us business on it. You guys have covered the difference between a lead and a contact, yes?
Hmm.
No, maybe, kind of, sort of. Does it sound familiar? What's a lead?
Someone you've met.
Okay. What's a contact?
I would say a contact's more of someone you've met, and I think a lead is more someone who's like is thinking about real estate, is thinking about buying, is thinking about selling. So you've had that conversation of real estate.
Frank, you're on it with me tonight. You're like, you're in my brain tonight. I used to think the same thing, and I would have been wrong, and I was wrong. The lead is somebody you just met. This is somebody, a lead is somebody that's a one-way conversation. In other words, you had brief conversation. Maybe you got contact information from them, but this is just a one-way conversation. In other words, I met, I said, hey, Frank, I'm Matt. I do real estate. Have a nice day. Maybe I can get their information. I get your phone number. Maybe I get an email from you. That's a lead. The contact comes into when you have permission to communicate and you're actually in a two-way conversation. In other words, I'm sending them their monthly neighborhood nurture. I'm sending my newsletter. I'm sending them properties. We're having a conversation. And you got to keep in mind, a contact isn't necessarily always somebody who's ready to do business. It's that two-way conversation. Because the people you know now that you have in your database, your people at work, your friends, your family, and all that stuff like that, you're in communications with them. That is a contact. That is somebody that I'm able to communicate with and then hopefully get them to do business with me. Frank, I lived in that space all the time. Don't worry about it. I did the same thing. So if you are not first or second in their mind, you probably won't get the business. What do you guys think about when you hear that?
I think it's right.
Why? What makes it right?
Because they'll just kind of fade away if you're not in the forefront. Then somebody else is going to catch their attention.
How often is somebody in your database going to fade away from you? Now, when I say that, they're going to fade away out of your mind versus you fading away out of their mind? Does it work both ways, or is it one way? Is it a one-sided thing?
Well, I think it can go both ways.
If I'm not talking to them, I'm not thinking about them. What's that saying? Out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we need to be purposeful about what we're doing to our entire database, more so to the fresh leads in the beginning to get them converted into contacts. Because once they become a contact and I can get business with them, then I'm just going to keep nurturing them from there on in my database so I can get future business from them. Right. Now, Frank, remember earlier I said you're like bringing everything, like you started us off on the right track. So NAR does studies on a regular basis. This is one of those studies. This comes out every year. Unfortunately, this year they are charging us for this. Really just agitates me.
How rude.
For this whole report. However, you don't need to pay for it. The highlights are perfectly fine. So 40% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative. 40%. How important is it for you to be in touch with your database and have these conversations with your database that you're in the business so that other people are going to refer them to you? Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What are our thoughts on that?
I think the bigger aha is the sentence below it where it says most buyers interviewed only one agent. I mean, that reinforces if you're not one or two in their mind, you're not gonna likely get it.
And Sarah gets a gold star for going ahead, because that's exactly what's the next thing I was going to say is this is the other part behind this is exactly that. Most buyers interviewed only one agent before making their decision. This was true for 77% of repeat buyers and 67% for first-time buyers. Now, here's the thing. This is a two-way kind of thought process on this of if I'm talking to them, that increases my odds of people in my database doing business with me, and it increases the odds of somebody in my database giving me a referral. Yes? How familiar are you guys with the 201 Plus Club?
No.
You guys know what the 201 Plus Club is?
No.
Okay. I set up for this. You guys, Frank, I'm going to thank you all night because you set me up perfect
Oh, man.
to put me right into this zone. Appreciate you, my man. All right. 201 Plus Club. Because, and it really has to do with us owning our own CRM with Command. Keller Williams has taken the data over the years that we've had Command and we've been watching the transactions. KWRI cannot see your contacts per se, yet we know how many you have in your database. So in a leadership role, I can go in and look in Command MC and I can see how many contacts each person has in their database. Now, we have discovered that if you have 201 contacts in your database and you're communicating to them, this is the important part, and you're communicating to them systematically and consistently. That means you have a 36 touch plan in place. You have a 19 to connect plan in place for new leads. If you're communicating with them all the time, roughly 6% of your database will do a transaction with you in a 12-month time period. What does that mean? That means that if I have 201 contacts in my database and 6% of them will do a transaction with me, that's 12 deals a year, 12 deals in a 12-month time period, not necessarily a calendar year. That's 12 transactions. Now, if we go back to the NAR stuff that we just talked about and about how 80% got their, or 40% got referrals or whatever it was, we also know out of those 201 contacts that roughly 10% will provide you a referral. What's that come out to be? That's 32 transactions just from your database of you talking to your database of 201 people or more. And the number goes up the higher you go. If I put 400 in here, the number is going to double, right? All right, 402. The number's going to double. Now, What's the average commission where you are? I don't need to know what it is. You know what it is. Just take this 32 and do the math. Because I can tell you my average commission where I am is $10,000 per transaction. For those that need to see the numbers, that's $320,000 in GCI, gross commission income. Just from talking to my database. That's not me going out, door knocking, running Facebook ads. That's not me doing anything else other than talking to my database, as long as you have 201 people in your database. Do you know one of the funny parts about having 201 people in your database, them transacting with you and them giving you referrals? Your database grows. If I got 20 referrals from 201 people, that's 20 new people in my database. Now I have 20 more new people to talk to. That's one more transaction every year, or 2 more transactions every year. And it just keeps growing from there. So a very fundamental database-based business can generate a lot of money. Thoughts, comments, smiles of joy, tears of sorrow, whichever one you do. Yep.
So I just closed my very first deal because I'm a pretty new agent, and I'm wondering, how do I ask them to fill out
testimonial, feedback?
Yes, thank you. Where
Okay.
do I direct them to?
First of all,
is it in KW? Is it something I send them?
I can give you some insights on that. But first of all, you closed your first transaction?
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm just saying, we got to celebrate that, right? See, I told you I set
Right.
my board up. I'm going to have some fun
Thank
with it
you.
tonight. So testimonials can be done anywhere. It's entirely up to you how you want to capture testimonials. Yes, on your agent page inside of Command, you can put a testimonial page. All you do is email them a link to it. They go there, they fill out the testimonial. I recommend that each of you sets up a Google business. You have a business, it's either your name as a real estate agent, or if you have a team, or you're part of it. If you're part of a team, you're not going to do it. But you, as an individual agent, can be like, I can be Matt Verdon of Keller Williams Realty Center, and I can have a business Google business page for that. I would recommend doing the Google business page. All you do is send them there, because then you can pull what they give as their testimonial, their feedback, their 5-star rating, whatever. You can pull that and put it anywhere else you want. So you can put it on your own web page. You can go put it on Facebook. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways. You really can collect those testimonials in any way, shape, or form you want to. Ironically, I heard, I think it was this weekend, I was watching something, and this guy said, if you're doing testimonials, you're doing it, or no, I'm sorry, if you're posting pictures after your closing saying, hey, look at me, I sold a house and my client's got the house, you're doing it wrong. And anytime I hear these real estate gurus on social media do their little things, I always stop and I pause and I go, okay, what's your new greatest thing? However, this one was accurate in my opinion. Once you get to the closing table, you should be scheduling a 15-minute Zoom call with your client after the closing. Or, in my opinion, you should be having a tripod in your phone, and if you're savvy enough, wireless microphones, and setting up immediately after closing, because anytime you want anything from anybody, you should ask them when. At what point in their life is the best time to ask somebody for something?
At their highest point.
That's it. When they're happy. Who's not happy after closing on the property they wanted? All right, to be fair, it can happen. Depends on how bad the transaction goes. They're happy, they just don't show it. It can happen. I'm going to be honest with you. However, 99.9% of the time, they're going to be happy, right? Now, my in-house title company, we have VIP rooms in both our offices. and my closer actually closes and says, let's go. And he takes all of us down to the VIP room and we pop champagne and we do confetti bombs and we do photos. Right then and there, you sit down with your tripod and go, can I have 5 minutes? And you shoot a video of them and you have a set of questions of, hey, what was the highlight of working with me? And you just ask them a couple questions, figure out what you want to do. Go to ChatGPT. He will help you, right? And shoot a video of it. And then you post the videos of the testimonial, what people say. So that's another way to do it. All right. 201 Plus Club. Having 201 people in your database is so important because that's where your stuff is going to come from. All right. Now, you still need to lead generate. You, like I said, you still need to follow up with them. So what's that follow-up look like? So let's get into what all of this looks like for you. In our possible business, that's when we're capturing our leads. So here you see on the left-hand side of the screen, it says leads. You want a 19 to connect plan. 19 to connect is you have 19 touches. You're communicating with them 19 times just to connect with them. Now, it's not 19 times in 19 days. It's 19 times over a year or however long it takes you to actually get them to start communicating with you. Your goal, well, let me ask this. Are we in the lead generation business? Is that what we need to do? Are we lead generators? Tanya, 100%.
I want to
Jason
say
says
yes.
What's that?
Said I want to say yes.
Well, I think you should just say yes and then you can get it over with.
Okay, yes.
Okay. Yes, we are in the lead generation business. And do you know what business we're actually truly in more so than lead generation? No, Amy, it's not customer service. That's a made up thing. It's not real. Just my opinion. No, we're in the lead capture business. Yes, relationships is true too, though. That's actually better than customer service. Relationship, build a relationship over providing a customer service. Customer service is a result of the relationship that you have, in my opinion. But we're in the lead capture business. The reason why I say that is because I can go out and I can meet 100 people a day. If I don't capture their information, what's the point in me meeting those people? It's lead generation with lead capture. Make sure you're capturing information. Without the information, you can't do anything that's on the screen right now. Right? So your 19 connect, you want at least 4 touches a quarter. Who knows what our, or 4 touches? 4 touches as in phone calls. What is our plan, our method of doing those phone calls? You guys know what it's called?
DTD2 or DTD4?
Wait, where'd the 4 come from? Or was that a guess?
No, I actually do DTD4.
Tell me more.
So instead of doing, depending on how many people you have in your database, in order to move a little quicker, you can do 4 letters instead of 2 letters per week, because some of my letters may not have people, have very few people, and I don't want to just sit around and wait for the next week to do 2 more letters. And so I choose to do 4, and that allows me to do more activities or more touches in different ways when I do 4 letters a week.
Okay. All right. So however you want to do it, do it. The more you do, the better it is. So kudos on you. The DTD2 is actually the plan that was created by one of our MAPS coaches, and it's called Do the Database 2. What that means is they've taken the entire alphabet and they've broken it down in a 2-letter sequence. If you don't have a copy of it, ask somebody in the market center to get it to you. Ask your coach, ask your mentor, ask your team leader. If I have a minute, I have it in a, probably got a bit.ly code someplace. I can probably grab that real quick in a minute. It's broken down to each week. It's 2 letters. So this week is D&O, I think, matter of fact. D&O, I think D&O is this week. So that means that everybody in your database with a last name that starts with a D or a last name that starts with an O, you're going to call them, right? So remember what I said about having 201 people in your database and you're going to call them 4 times a year? Is that freakish? Like, is that a lot of phone calls? How many are like 200 phone calls every quarter is a lot of phone calls? Yeah. No. Nobody likes the phones. Okay. So it's not 201 people in your database. You know how many phone calls you got to make a day? 2. It's actually 2.3. That's 2 phone calls a day to talk to 200 people every 90 days. And you're most likely going to do more than that. Here's the other thing. You're also only going to talk to probably 1 out of every 10 or so, depending on your relationships and who you're calling. A lot of people do, and depending on what time of day you call, they might not be available. So you're going to leave voicemails, or you're not even going to leave a voicemail. So it's not a lot of people to reach out to. Yet that's what the DTD2 is. And that's why the 4 touches a quarter are phone calls. Your next is your 12 touches a year with email. Now, there's multiple ways you can do emails. The easiest, the fastest, the one thing you don't have to work at is the monthly neighborhood nurture inside of Command. It's built for you. All you have to do is assign neighborhoods to your contacts, which you guys should go over tomorrow night in the tech class. Alana's teaching the tech class for you guys. I'm actually teaching the East Coast tomorrow night for that. Just open up your smart plans, click on monthly neighborhood nurture, and add them. The only thing they need in there is an email address that works and neighborhoods assigned to them. And once you do that, that goes out every month. It is the most open and most interactive automated email we have in our ecosystem right now, and it works. I actually have a home inspector, not even sure how I ended up with him on this. He actually responded to me one day. I love this information. And I'm like, what are you using it for? He goes, I take a look at stuff before I go out and do my inspection. Inspections or appraiser. He's one or the other, I forget. He goes, I check stuff out before I go out. So he's actually using, he's not even looking to be a client. So people like what comes into it. Your 2 touches are promotional, direct mail, note cards, letters, whatever you can send out to people. Now, these are leads. This isn't your entire database. These are the people you haven't been able to have a 2-way conversation with. Like Cindy said, the ones with the cricket sound, the ones that won't answer the phone or won't, you send them something in the mail, write them a note, drop a note card in, go by the house and drop off something, whatever it may be. Keep it inexpensive. Matter of fact, you don't even have to pay for a lot of this stuff. If you get your vendors to partner up with you in your lead generation efforts, they'll provide you with pop-bys, they'll provide you with flyers, they'll provide you with things that they'll co-brand that you can take by houses and drop off. Find out who can do it and do it correctly, because you do have to worry about whatever that law is. I just forgot what it is off the top of my head. I can't believe I forgot it. Anyways, it's a big one too. So just be mindful. What's that? RESPA. Thank you, Jason. RESPA violations. We don't want any RESPA violations. I can't believe I forgot that. I was just talking about it today too. And then you want to 1 touch annually. I'm not a big fan of the annual event that you're inviting leads to, because leads are the people that are not, you're not really in conversation with. They're not doing anything for you. My mindset is, why am I going to spend extra money to have you maybe show up to something when we haven't even gotten there? But again, you can keep this very minimal or at no cost, depending on who you partner up with, vendors and things like that. I'll give you an example of leads and lead generation with this. And I think I shared it last time, Cindy, didn't I? I dress up as Santa.
Mm-hmm.
I shared that, didn't I? I dress up as Santa and take pictures with dogs.
Yeah.
With pets. I also did the Easter Bunny. Now, remember I said, whoever said they were from Colorado, I'm losing an agent. She's the one I'm losing. It's okay, because I'm going to take over her Santa and Easter stuff at the pet place, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than what she had it. So that's a way for you to have an event to invite people to. So even if you have a lead that's in the area, you can always send it to them. So you're not really doing an event for them. You're inviting them to an event you're already doing. That event can be that. It could be the movies. That, shoot, start doing quarterly or monthly or weekly buyer and seller seminars, and just keep inviting them to them. Depending on where, I mean, if they already been to one of yours, they might not want to come to another one. Keep inviting them to those things, right? Whatever you can do it again from. The whole point is that you're on their mind at all the time. whether it's a lead or whether it's a contacts in your database, and that's where the 36 to convert comes in. Whether, no matter where they are, we need to be in contact with them way more than you think we do. And it's also not creepy. Currently, I'll tell you right now, we have agents. Do you guys know who James Shaw is?
No.
No. James Shaw was one of our higher ups at KWRI. He's still with KW, but he runs his own stuff called Pivot Shift Ahead. It's a morning call every morning, right? East Coast time. It starts at 7:30 on Zoom. There's a very large group that joins him live on Zoom from 7:30 to 8. And then at 8 o'clock, he goes live on the Facebook group, and he's always talking about something. And there was a reason I was telling you that, and I just drew a blank on it. It's kind of like RESPA. I just totally forgot what I was going to say. What was that slide? Oh, I know. See, I had to go back and look at the slide. In that group, they are now working on 100 or more touches a year to their database. And none of it's weird. None of it's creepy. None of it's uncomfortable. It's amazing how many different things you can come up with to contact people. It's super amazing. All right. So we're focusing on the 19 to connect right now. So we're going to stay focused on that. Some of the questions you want to ask yourself, when again, this is right where I was going to go with that 100 aspect. Lead follow-up best practices. Ask yourself a couple questions. What are my strengths when working with people? Now, one of the things I go over when I teach this class, when I teach the opening session, which is like connecting to the business and your value proposition, strengths and weaknesses. Nobody has a weakness. Everybody has a strength. The only reason it's a weakness is because you haven't found out how to use your weakness. And sometimes your weakness isn't you doing it. It's you having the knowledge to leverage it to someplace. Is this something that I enjoy? Is it something that I don't like? Fine. How can I leverage that out? So it's not a weakness. It's you just got to get somebody else to do it. Same conversation. What are my strengths with people? Now, I also encourage people, what do you do today? What is your job? For the dual career folks, what is your job today? For those that are doing real estate full time, what did you do in your past life?
Mobile pet groomer.
You got to do a lot of grooming in this business. I'm going to just tell you that right now. However, I go back myself personally, and I talk about the fact that I spent almost 2 decades in the fire service. So when I'm communicating with people, I can share with them, not only to have a large database of potential investors, buyers, sellers, whatever the case may be throughout the area, I also have seen people at their best, at their worst, and everything in between. One of the most emotional things you're going to do in your life is buy a house.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's anybody that's going to help you manage it, it's going to be me. So I'm taking one of my strengths that I've had from a previous life experience, previous job. Gonna make sure there's no dog behind me before I push my chair back. I'm going to use those strengths in those conversations, right? How can you take the 19 to touch, not the 19 to connect, I mean, to represent you? What inside of that? And look, you don't have to do the stuff that's in here this way. Just find your 19. Find your 19 ways to be in contact with your lead that makes sense to you, that provide your value proposition. We're going to talk about that too. Provide your value and get you in front of them to make them want to talk to you. That's the important part, right? When is it best for me and my business to time block for lead follow-up? There was a comment about, I think somebody made some comment that made me think of this question right here, which is why I jumped to it. In your dual career business, this is the number one thing that you need to think about. Again, full-time folks, still your number one thing. You need to plan your day. Your day needs to be planned out. What am I doing every day? We have a practice in KW that our lead generation time is 9 to 12, 10 to 1, 10 to 12. You want about 3 hours of lead generation. Now, you don't have to do it back to back like that. You actually can say, all right, I'm going to get up and I'm going to make phone calls from 9 to 10. Then I'm going to go out and I'm going to visit some businesses and leave some business cards around. And then I'm going to go to the office and I'm going to sit down and do social media for an hour, and I'm going to send direct messages to everybody. That's direct messaging people's lead generation, right? Wherever you can get your 3 hours in your day, how's it fit your schedule, right? Folks with kids, especially young ones that are still in school, I can't typically lead generate here or here because it's going to school and coming home from school, right? By the way, how many have kids that are in activities after school? Sports, bands, whatever the case may be. Guess what? There's your lead generation time. Take them, leave them, find a quiet spot, go sit in the car, go lead generate at that time. Just because they're busy doing something doesn't mean you need to be busy doing something. Okay. Just going back to your activities here. So some of the things you can do in your touches, your calls and texts, connect with everybody every quarter. We already talked about that with the DTD2 and how to do that. And you don't always have, there you go, talk to parents and make them into leads. Look, use your surroundings. We go someplace I was at the chiropractor today. Give you an example. I was at the chiropractor today, got up, talked to the head doc there. Him and I were having a conversation. He typically asked me about real estate anyways. And then he introduced me to some random guy that was in there, and he owns auto place not far from the chiropractor. His name's Jeff. Spikes is the name of the place. And he goes, well, if you ever need anything, let me know. And I said, if you need a real estate agent, let me know. He went, not yet. Guess what I heard? You need to buy a house. Guess where Matt's going in the very near future? I got a slow leak in a tire. I was going to run it up to Mr. Tire. I'm going to go see Jeff at Spice and go, I don't know why this thing's leaking. You mind taking a quick look at it for me? Remember we met at the chiropractor? And guess who's going to get a conversation? Use your surroundings. There's never a wrong time to lead generate. It's all about how we do it. All right. I'm going to give you an example with some of this stuff. Your emails, you could do birthdays, you could do market reports, you can do information videos. Again, if you're not big in social media, you're probably not big in video, right? Yet I can tell you now, all the studies are showing it's all about video moving forward. All right. I'm going to ask the question. Let me see everybody. Let me see everybody. Who was upset for 12 hours without TikTok? Jason Lay. As soon as I said 12 hours, he knew exactly what I was going to say. Trust me, I was excited. I was like, I am addicted. You guys know who Simon Sinek is? You ever heard the name before? All right. I was watching Simon do something, and I'm pretty sure it was Simon. And it was like, if you get up and carry your phone from room to room in your own home, you might be addicted. And I went, I've been very purposeful about leaving my phone someplace else when I leave. Like I leave it here in my office and I go to the kitchen. Now that doesn't change the fact that my iPad's probably in there, so I can sit down and eat my cereal or something, goof off. But I'm not carrying my phone. It's my justification. Don't judge me. But I was super like, yeah, I'm addicted. I can't wait for it to go away. My daughter got up the next day and messaged our family Snapchat group and was like, I don't know what to do with myself. And I'm like, I do. I'm kind of happy about it. And then 2 hours later, I got a notification on my news app that said TikTok's back. And I was like, oh my God. Anyways, I haven't opened it much since it's been back. I did look at it yesterday, and I did look at it for like 30 minutes today in between some stuff. But yeah, you bought yoga pants with pockets to have your phone on you. I get it now. Look, I get it. Technology is great until it bites us. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Promotional items, local sports teams, schedulers, magnets, things like that. Again, partner up with vendors. There's plenty of people out there that will help you pay and cover for some of this stuff, as long as they're in the branding. There are rules. RESPA, again. Neighborhood events. You should always start in your own neighborhood. Anytime you're going to do geofarming, technically, you don't have to. I have an agent that I've been in communications with. She's a KW agent. She's down in Virginia, and she has 60% market share in her neighborhood, some ridiculous number. And it's because she's doing mailers on a regular basis. She owns the neighborhood. And there's a dozen or more real estate agents that live in the neighborhood also. And she has the greatest market share because she's the one that's in front of everybody all the time and talking to them more than anybody else. So, and this is part of the way. The 19 Connect is part of the way to do it. So if she does 2 mailers a month, 3 mailers a month, November, December, January, February, and then it's 2 mailers a month the rest of the time. So what's that? 9, that's 18 mailers, and then 3, 6, 9, another 9. So she's doing like 24 mailers a year. And that's how she's doing her lead generation. That's her 19 to connect, if you think about it. So choose how you want to do it, basically. Be impactful, make everything impactful, and focus on value. A lot of agents out there are like, data. I'm going to send them market stats. I don't believe in that. I believe it should be a portion of what you do in some way or another. If you're doing a monthly newsletter, your newsletter should have stuff, and then probably the last thing should be something related to market, because not everybody wants the market in their face. They just don't, because it doesn't fit them at the time. You want to be in there. It's got to be about you and what you're doing. You can put stories up about how you helped 5 people buy and sell last month in your monthly newsletter, and say, hey, look, these 5 people had an amazing month because they were able to get the homes they wanted. You could do that, but it's not really market related. It's not the stats type situations. Do I do a newsletter? So I just started a team with a buddy of mine, and yes, we don't have the team set up inside of Command yet. So we're still individual agents. And yes, we have the format for what we're going to do, which is why I'm telling you our format is some type of home maintenance or something to do with homes in the beginning. And then we are doing, I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me. And then there'll be something in there about something local, activities to do. And then the last thing that's going to go in there is something related to the data. And that will go out every month. So here's the thing, newsletters and that monthly neighborhood nurture, you do that, that's 24 touches a year in just 2 emails. And if you stagger them out correctly, those in themselves are going to be amazing for most people. Phone calls and all the other are going to be for everybody else. You got to make sure you're hitting everybody, but keep it to the value and keep it to your value, right? How many neighborhoods to start with for geo farming? 1. Minimum, in my opinion, of 300 homes. And if you can find a neighborhood to do your geo farming in that is a mix of single family and townhome and or condos, because depending on where you are, you have that aspect. Now, when I say neighborhood, some of us live in areas where a neighborhood is 1,000 homes in one neighborhood. If you're more rural, then you're going to obviously, it's going to be home count versus neighborhood at that point. So is geofarming door knocking, or what exactly is it? Geofarming is you picking a community to lead gen in on a regular basis. And there are a ton of activities you can do around it. If you guys can't, hold on, let me switch this over. You see this piece of paper back here on the wall? That's one of our masterminds of a big Post-it note that we did creating our geo farm. So it's about door knocking, mailers, pop buys. It's just whatever you can do in a neighborhood to be top of mind for when somebody's ready to sell. It's always about top of mind. What are we doing to be in front of them? You can treat a geo farm, you can treat your leads, or you can treat your database the same way. It doesn't matter. You want to be in front of them as much as you can. And that's what this is all about, is making sure that you're in front of them. So communications. First thing we got to do is identify where your leads are coming from. It's super important for you to track all your data, including your lead generation. So anytime you go to do anything and you capture leads, you need to be tagging them inside of Command as under the lead source of where the lead come from, because you're going to want to eventually give up on some things and double and triple down on other things. So if I know that my database is feeding me leads and I'm getting business from my database, I'm probably going to shift a very heavy focus to my database. Then let's say I'm doing monthly seminars and my seminars are blowing up. I got 30, 40 people showing up every single time. Guess what? I might want to stay focusing on that. You really don't, you guys probably should have already talked about this, but you don't really want more than 3, maybe 4 lead levers is what we call. So where are you getting your leads from? And are you doing something that makes you happy? Lead generation isn't supposed to hurt. It's not supposed to be painful. You're supposed to be able to enjoy it. So find out what you enjoy and go do it. My old team leader went back into production and he actually started he's been on this health fitness thing and he quit drinking and all that. It's over a year ago now. I think he's getting close to almost 2. He's about a year and a half, I think. And he decided he was going to start hiking and he just started inviting his database. He's going to go anyways. He's going to go do a rut and he's going to go out and he's going to do it. So he started inviting people. He had his first one. I don't know if he got a second one in or not before the weather turned because he kind of started kind of late. And he had like 5 people show up. Like one of his clients even brought their parents or something like that. So it's another way to get out and do it. And guess what? It didn't cost him anything. And he was going to go do it anyways. So be mindful about your lead generation, that not only are you enjoying it, it's producing. Here's the other thing too. For that lead generation for him, what's a follow-up phone call for that? What's that follow-up look like? How easy is that follow? Let me ask it that way. How easy is that follow-up?
Yeah. How'd you enjoy the hike? What'd you like about it? What'd you like to do next time?
Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
Right? Hey, are you up when winter gets here that we can still go when it's 7 degrees? I had to look at my temperature real quick. Like there's value in that. So going back to the questions that we had a minute ago, right? How do I do this? What are some of the, like this one right here? We didn't even talk about this one. What are some reasons I might have for contacting a lead? Hey, I'm so glad you came with Jason to my hike and it was so nice to meet you. How'd you like it? Now, remember, keep it to that too sometimes. Sometimes you have to keep it to just people. Again, it doesn't always have to be about business, doesn't always have to be about real estate, right? Are you guys familiar with the Ford script? FORD, right? Family, occupation, recreation, dream. Hit that. Hey, by the way, when we were hiking, you said you work at such and such. Tell me more about that. By the way, you want them talking, you not. Kind of like you guys want me talking because you don't want to. It's similar, but not quite the same. So we're going to get through it. It's okay. All right. So post lead follow-up. We kind of talked about some of this, but post lead follow-up is you got to have your lead capture. So, and here's your thing right here. So when two-way communications is established, the lead becomes a contact. This is where we talked about it earlier about two-way conversation, right? Then you're going to move the person from the 19 to connect to the 36 touch. This is where you're going to have the 36 to convert. So this is where you're going to actually increase your contact. You're going to have more reason to talk to them, hopefully, because you've made that connection and that relationship. And then you're going to do what we call the one to cement. The one to cement is what's one high value thing that you can do or give or provide to that lead / now contact to really lock you in as their person, as their agent, however you want to call it. Like, what's some things you think you could do? Let's use the hiking scenario, right? Jason comes on my hike. We go out. I call him up. We're in conversation. And then now we've gotten to the point where we're communicating more frequently. He's interacting with me on social media. We're doing things. This is a true two-way conversation. He is now a contact. Well, I want to make sure that he never forgets me. What's something you guys think I could do to really cement that relationship? Wait, I got this. That plays for over a minute, just so you guys know. Okay, how about this one? What if I got my title company or my lender to partner up with me and brand water bottles? And what if next time Jason and I went out hiking, or what if I just went by Jason's house and I said, hey, next time you go with me or you go anywhere, I got this. This is for you. Now there's cost involved in that one. Of course, I'm looking for a vendor to help offset or cover it completely, depending on what you can do. There are plenty of other things we can do that don't cost money. So you have to find that one to cement, that one thing that's just gonna be like, they're gonna remember it. Thoughts, comments, excitement, joy, pain, sorrow? Because we're going to get into the second half of our stuff here in just a moment. While you guys think about actually answering me or not, whichever makes you happy. I don't know if you guys have done surveys for the other instructors. As a KWU instructor, I do need a certain number of surveys every year to keep my certification. So if you guys would do one, this is for session 10, keep every lead. You can scan the QR code. Or how do you get them to pay? You ask them.
Get your QR code scanner. Scan in.
There's that. Was that you, Cindy?
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to scan. Or if you're on a computer, just go to kwueval.com and you can fill this out. Virtual event. My name is in the drop down as an instructor. So you can just hit the drop down and scroll down and you'll find me. There are 2 mats. I'm the better looking of the 2. Just remember that. And then, like I said, all the Ignite sessions are in there. You just pick session 10 and then you can complete it. It asks for a 1 to 5 rating. By the way, this is one of those surveys where 1 does not mean number 1. It's like a 5-star rating is important here. And then there's a box for comments. I'd love a takeaway in there if you want, and anything you want to suggest that makes me better that I can do to make things better in my presentation skills. You guys don't get me in person, so you don't get the full effect, which some of you might like not having the full effect. Other you might want to see the whole show. I don't know. It's a show in person. I promise you that. All right, back to the question in the chat real quick of how do you get your vendors to pay? You ask them. Literally, you ask them. I met with several vendors. I have we're my California people. You guys familiar with United Home Warranty? He's based out of California. I speak to the owner of the company directly.
I'm not.
So newer home warranty company, but he is based out of California. Matter of fact, his home survived, but his actual office did not. He lost his entire office in the fires. I just talked to him the other day. He was supposed to send me something yesterday, I think it was. And he didn't, like he said he was. And I'm like, I'm going to wait. I'll call him later because I'm sure he's got a lot going on. So, but I have a home warranty company. I have a home inspector. I have 2 lenders. And I got somebody else. Oh, and a insurance company that have provided money to me for our geofarming. And I have all their credit cards. I just go into the platform that we do our mailers in and we do it. And I like your question there, Belinda, because even my home inspector, Rachel, was like, she's a challenge to get a hold of. She keeps herself busy. She's like a one-man show in what she does. And she even said this, she goes, I'm excited and I'm proud of you because it's hard to go to somebody and ask for money. And it was in the beginning. The first couple of times I tried to bring it up, I felt really uncomfortable. Now I'm hounding people. You said you're going to help out. Where's the credit card? Like, hello. Oh, and I have my in-house title company too. That's going to help out with stuff. They would prefer to buy like Popeyes in items and co-brand type thing. I'm like, fine. When I'm ready for those, I'll let you know. And I can count on them to do that for me because they do a lot for us already. So just ask them for it. Have a plan. You ever heard of pitch deck? A pitch deck is where you have a product and you're going to go in front of the people you want to actually like contribute to it. Have a plan. You can't just go to somebody and go, hey, I want to do this. And then look at them. Will you give me money? Well, what's the goal? What are you going to try? Well, I don't know. I just want to try it out. Somebody said I should do mailers. Have a plan. It makes it go over a lot easier. I went with a plan. So, all right, let's get into follow up with leads. Some more follow up with leads, really. So, I already said this. I just said it differently. The effort you give to converting leads must match the effort you give to generating leads. How does that make you feel? I will sit for this one. Think about it. How much effort are you currently giving to your lead generation?
Not as much as I should.
Do you want to match your converting then? Think about it. If you're not doing well in your lead generation, guess what you're also probably not doing well at?
Yeah.
Lead follow-up is the number one challenge that we have as real estate agents. Most of us, even we're my introverts. As the East Coast says, they're the ones with the cameras off. So 90% of you, right? Even the introverts can lead generate. The challenge comes in a lead follow-up. Why am I calling them? I feel uncomfortable. It goes back to the question of how do I get someone to pay for it? I ask them for it. So you have to ask these people for business. Going back to Simon Sinek, I watched one of his podcasts. I don't think it was his podcast. I think he was on with somebody else, and I forget who he was on with. He might have been on with Trevor Noah. I think they were having this conversation. Watched 2 episodes with him and Trevor. They were really good. And if you want something from somebody, just ask them. The scenario he gave, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit and just use real estate of, let's say, Cindy, I'm going to use you. Let's say I met you, I kind of know you, whatever the case may be. You're a lead, or let's say you're a contact. We're at the contact point where you're kind of starting to be a contact. And I call you up, or I send you an email, whichever way. The same conversation is going to be either way. And I'm like, hey, Cindy, how are you? How's the family? You know, I saw on Facebook, you know, you got this new job or you went on this vacation. And I just had this whole like polite conversation and showed interest in you. And we went back and forth. And then I turned around and I said, hey, Cindy, by the way, I made a commitment this year to service 30 people, whether it be families or individuals, in their real estate needs, whether they're buying or selling or both. I've committed to help 30 people. Who do you know that I should know?
Okay.
What Simon said was, don't do that. All those pleasantries you had up front, you were just priming me to ask me to do you a favor. If you want something, just ask them. So how would it look if I said, hey, Cindy, it's Matt. Hey, look, can I ask you a favor? I've committed to helping 30 people or families. I've committed to helping 30 people buy and sell homes this year. And I'm on track right now. I've gotten 1 or 2 done and I got time to go. Yet if I can hit my 30 early, I want to get past that 30. And I was wondering, could you help me out? Who do you know that I should know that is looking to buy or sell right now in real estate? And then we have that conversation. And then I'm like, hey, also, Cindy, I noticed on Facebook that you went on this trip to California and it looked like you had a great time. Where'd you go again? How was that? What made you take that trip versus something else? Then I can get into the pleasantries and show her interest in her. And her. Oh, by the way, how's the family? How's the dog? How's the cat? Whatever the conversation is, that I can get into the pleasantries. The pleasantries are going to be received even better.
Mhm.
And I'm going to get an upfront answer.
Yeah. I like the second version better than the first, because to me, you were running around a bush before you could get to where you were going to talk to me for what you actually wanted.
Just ask.
Yeah.
When he did it, and I tell you, when he did it, I was like, man, you're right. I typically am like that too. I do the pleasantries and like, hey, here's this, here's that. Hey, good to see you. Good to talk to you. Rather than just going, I need something. Can you help me?
It's like you're warming them up to it.
Right. And nobody likes that. You're just buttering, like I think he actually said, you're buttering me up.
Yeah.
You're buttering me up to ask me a favor. Nobody likes that.
Somebody's waiting for the hook.
Exactly. What's the catch?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just
What's
come
this
out and
gonna
say
cost
it.
me? What's this going to cost me?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Capturing, you know what? I think my slide deck's backwards, it looks like. It can't be. Nope, this is right. Okay. All right. So capturing leads. Capture is defined as collecting the minimum amount of valid contact information. I think, remember what I said earlier? Are we in the lead generation business or the capturing business? We're in the capturing business, right? Capture, collect as much minimum data as you can. Our goal is name, phone number, and email. How many of you guys carry around business cards? How many of you carry around digital business cards? Blink, all hello me, and all that stuff like that. Okay. For those that are doing digital business cards, if I could talk, what's your success rate in giving out a digital business card? Can't control that, Belinda. They do it all the time.
I mean,
was
anybody
like-
I've offered to send it to, they're like, yeah, no problem.
Okay. How many of you have given out paper business cards? Old school. Here's my business card. What's your success rate in that?
I get more conversations, but I deal with an older crowd.
Okay.
So I get more
That's a-
conversations.
Older crowd, another one. Yep.
Yep. They kind
Now,
of like
this is
paper,
this-
you know,
I
they
did
carry it
Right.
in their wallet, they carry it in their purses.
until they get home and they empty it out. Or they,
I think-
or ladies, until you change to the 15th purse of the day. I'm not judging, I'm just saying, okay. For those that have the purse issue, right? It's either purses or shoes, I think. It doesn't matter. Your paper cards are appropriate, like Cindy said, for a certain crowd.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else is going to want something digital. So we have to meet our generation where we're at. So meet people where they're at. Technology is still a great way to go. I've texted with some, I sometimes don't even know how I can text with my father sometimes. He's only 75, but the man's, I don't know. It's a whole thing. But there are people we can do that with and we can't, which goes into what kind of communications do we want? What fits you best? And we got to figure out, we have to be prepared for all of the options, right? Now, the other thing with paper business cards, though, is if I give it to them, guess what I don't get in return?
The information you're after.
I'm not capturing anything. If I have a digital card, yes, I can break out the QR code and I can go scan this. Yet the better option would be, yeah, I've got my digital card right here. What's the best number to text it to you? You don't even have to say digital card. You could just say, hey, yeah, I got my card right here. What's the best number I can text it to you at? Because I don't carry paper cards, right? You know, the funny thing, this just hit me. I've been having some ahas today. It's been a little weird. I was doing this before people were doing it. When I first got in the business, I legit made, before Canva, believe it or not, made a digital card or a image of a card, the size of a business card, downloaded the image, put it in my phone as an image just so I could text the image to people. I was already doing that. It's probably why I became a tech trainer. Wow, I just realized that. Huh, scary. And it works though, because now I can say, hey, Jason, here's the thing. And I do this every time with people. We get in a conversation. What's the easiest way to get out of that conversation with somebody? They know it's a sales pitch. If you're not doing good in your talk tracks, they can tell you're like, want to buy a house? Want to sell a house? I'm your man, right? So how do we get out of those conversations? What do we ask for?
Oh, let me just get some of your information and I'll contact you if I need you or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm not right now, but if you give me your card, I'll call you when I'm ready, right? And then what happens? I don't have a card in front of me. The first trash can, first curb. You're coming out of the restaurant at the end of the day, and there it is laying on the sidewalk, right? That's what they did with it, right? And of course they ghost you because you don't have a way to get a hold of them, right? Yet keep in mind, they asked for it. Hey, do you have a business card and I'll reach out to you? Actually, I do. What's the best number I can text it to you at? Now, there's two kinds of people in life. One that's going to go, oh, crap, I got to give them my phone number because I did ask for that. Then you're going to have the other ones go, yeah, if you're going to text them, you never mind because all you want to do is get my phone number. Which one do you think's the greater?
The people who don't like confrontation.
I don't know the actual answer, yet I agree. I'm probably going to be the one going, 301, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to give you my phone number. Now, if you're super smart and savvy like I am, you're going to transpose numbers just to mess with them. Yet, I'm smarter than that because my conversation's not over. Okay, great. Awesome. There, I just sent it to you. So, hey, it was really great meeting you. Do you want to keep that conversation going for like 30 seconds? Hey, check your phone real quick. I want to make sure you got that. I'm a little dyslexic sometimes. I put numbers in wrong. So now I'm going to make them get their phone out and look. Because then I'm going to go, oh, there's my dyslexia. And I am, by the way. Was that 6455 or 6545? Now, naturally, when you do something like that, people almost now, oh, no, it was 6455. Now they're going, oh, hey, oh, boom. There it is. I see your phone lighting up now. Awesome. Hey, really great talking to you. Love to be able to chat with you later on. Right? Frank, go ahead. What you got, buddy?
And I did the same thing. I always repeat the number wrong back to them just to see if they're actually paying attention, just trying to blow me off, or see if they're actually going to correct me.
That works too. I'm reading the chat also. They also say, yeah, they say, yes, can I share my business card with you and things like that. So it's not what we say, it's how we say it. We have to get really good at saying things the right way. Are you guys familiar with Phil Jones? I'm dropping names tonight. I mean, I drop names, but you guys familiar with Phil Jones, exactly what to say? If you don't have this and you haven't read this, get this. Now I'm going to warn you, or I'm going to guide you. I shouldn't say warn you. I'm going to guide you. Phil Jones has 2 books. There's exactly what to say, and then there's exactly what to say for real estate agents. Please read exactly what to say. It's a deeper psychology into the words, then go read exactly what to say for real estate agents. Exactly what to say for real estate agents is a little bit smaller, and it's more like a field guide overall. So just a short, like each each chapter in exactly what to say for real estate agents, it's made for real estate agents. It's like 3 pages long and 4 words per page. Okay. So it gives you what you need to know. The first book is what led this to this. When he wrote the first book, and I forget who did it, who went after him, but somebody went after him. You have to write this for real estate agents. So get that book, do that. Catch out any of the videos. He's got a podcast and some other stuff. Check Phil Jones out. If you want the role play cards, that's what this is. It's a set of cards with all the magic words. It puts scenarios and all that in there. Check with your market center, see if they have any. If they don't, find someone to partner up with that you can share with, because they're like almost $100 for a set of cards. They're extremely expensive. So I was fortunate. I was in leadership and I got mine for free, and now they're mine. So they're great. Matter of fact, our market center, we do a little role play using the cards from time to time. In our capture category, we have conversions, our conversations. We have to have our conversation frameworks. So if I were to need to contact you, we just had this conversation, what's the best number to contact you? Okay. If I found exactly what you're looking for, how would I contact you? There's just different ways to ask the question, and there's sometimes a better way than another. And I'll tell you right now, I just converted a lead, somebody that I was having troubles with. She was very slow to respond. And I was just trying to get a phone consult, just to get her on the phone so I can get her into the lender. And I used 4 of Phil Jones's exactly what to say, magic words, if you will. And she responded immediately, and I had the appointment set for the following Monday, and she actually kept it and met, and I just talked to the lender today. So we met last Monday. She met with the lender Saturday. The lender just got back to me today. So using those words actually work. Connection best practices, embed your value proposition. Do you guys have a value proposition? Did they talk value proposition to you guys in the first couple sessions, or in the first session, I should say? Value proposition is huge. If you don't have a value proposition, what are you telling people? Right? I was a captain of the baseball team back in 19. Actually, I wasn't, but just sounded good. Role play and practice. Everybody on here should be working with one another. If you guys are in the same state or in the same market center, partner up and practice your talk tracks and your conversations. I would encourage you, for all of you, to put your contact information in the chat, and everybody take the contact information and start reaching out to one another. I'm okay role playing with Frank in California. The time difference is a challenge. Yet I want to know what he's doing out there, because the demographic and the people he's talking to aren't the same as my Washingtonian people, because I'm just outside of DC and Baltimore. I don't have the same energy and the same mindset that a lot of them do. So I'd like to know what he's saying and what's working, and I can give him what I'm doing. And somewhere in that, I'm going to find my way. So partner up with people and do these conversations. Get into your market centers. If you are, who's part of a coaching group? Who's got a productivity coach and part of a coaching group? If you're part of a coaching group, find out why your coach isn't doing weekly role plays. At least once a week, a minimum once a week. It can be done virtually. Zoom's amazing. We can break out in breakout rooms right now. You guys can go practice talk tracks if you want to. Like, there are ways to make it happen. You got to make it happen. Your commitment to learning your talk tracks is no different than your commitment to lead generation and your commitment to converting your leads. Same conversation we're having right now. And in order for you to do all that, you have to know what you're doing. So you have to have the same commitment all the way through. Okay. 6 connection questions. So there are things you can ask. So, like, who are they? Now, granted, I think these are just kind of short and direct just to get the point across. And the who, what, where, when, why, and how are important questions. Okay. Does everybody know how to save the chat, by the way? Because I know I see people actually putting numbers and stuff in there. In the upper right-hand corner in the chat box, you see the 3 little meatballs, the elliptic menu. If you click on that, there's a spot that says save chat. And down on the bottom, depending on what version of your stuff, I think there's a save down. No, it's only on the top. Something else on the bottom. But once everybody gets their stuff in there, you just hit your save chat and it will save for you. That way you can go back and pull it later. You don't have to write it down right now. I want you paying attention to me, not the chat. No, I'm kidding. The who, what, when, where, why, and how are real questions. Well, I don't know if I'm well, who are you? It's more of, tell me about yourself. Because I want to know who they are and what their goals are in order for me to help them, right? What do they want or what do they need? Again, these are just short examples. What are you looking for? Looking to buy? You looking to sell? Okay, you're looking to buy. What are you looking for? Townhouse, condo, single family, farm, ranch? What are you looking for? Let's talk about that. Where do you want it to be? What area are you looking in? Right? Why is never a good question. Always reframe it. Why is off-putting, right? Like, if I looked at the screen right now, like I am, and I go, why are you guys not, like, why don't you have your camera on? Doesn't sound very pleasing and very inviting for you to actually do it. Yet if I said, okay, for those that don't have your camera on, what challenges are you having right now with your camera that prevents you from turning your camera on? Completely different question. Completely different vibe when I say it. And some people might go, oh, well, you know what? You're right. I should. Others might, my camera don't work, right? Gerald doesn't work. I see the line through it. He doesn't have one. So know your what, when, where, why, and how questions, and know how you're going to ask them. These are your intake forms. These are your intake form when you meet somebody, basically of, the who, what, when, why, and how continues all the way through your lead generation and your lead follow-up. Because you're not going to get all these questions asked when you first meet somebody. So you need to find a way, and you can ask these questions over a period of time, right? Oh, and by the way, the good thing about you guys doing this with I love the fact you're putting your cities in there too. Remember I said earlier about referrals? Yeah, you guys can send referrals to one another. So if you've got somebody in Dallas, San Francisco, SoCal, right? Make it happen. Cultivating. This is the 19 to connect area. This is where we're taking those leads we got. We're cultivating with that 19 connect. We're stopping by. We're inviting them to events. We're doing all that stuff like that, just to keep them engaged, right? You can't know or predict when they'll come to the decision. And when they do, you want to be there. And the only way to be there is to be in constant contact. So you guys are making me happy tonight. Look at all these people putting names and numbers in there. You guys are so cool. I like it. All right. You can't know or predict when they will come to a decision, but if you're reconnecting with them in a systematic way, you'll have the great chance of being there when they do. This is all from the Shift book. Matter of fact, even page 105. Is everybody familiar with the key books you should be reading? MREA, Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Shift, One Thing. There you go. There's one more that I recommend everybody reads. Matter of fact, you can build your business around that one book, matter of fact. All right. Bet you all thought I didn't have pants on since we're on Zoom, but I do. Shame on you all. All right. This is the other one. If you guys go to Keller Inc., you can order this. This is Gary's book. This is first time home buyer process, chapter by chapter from all the top people. Gary, Jay, and a bunch of our other top executives out there at KWRI, right? JP Lewis is in here. Mo Anderson's in here. Gary, Jay, Bill, Athena, all our top people are in here, or top agents are in here telling a story. Also, if you go to Keller Inc., there are resources in there where they give you the entire slide deck and the process for doing a seminar around that book. Remember earlier when I said even introverts can lead generate? I tell every introvert, because most introverts like to read. Leah's smiling. I'm right? Most introverts like to read. Some are extremely avid readers. Do a book club. Create a book club. Do regular books, then drop that one in. Go, hey, I'd like your insights. And here's why. How many of you own a home? How many of you would like to own a home? Great, let's read this book, because the ones that own a home, I want to know how close this is to what you went through. And I want to know what you learned from the book that you wish you would have known when you were buying. And the ones that haven't bought, we're going to show you how to buy. Then when you get done the book, did I tell you guys I was a real estate agent? Have we had that conversation yet? There's always a way to lead generate, okay? The close. In your lead generation, in your lead follow-up, you must always be closing. You guys ever heard the term, if you ever done any sales, always be closing? Always be closing. There's always the soft close, the assumptive close. There's tons of them out there. There's a couple of good books on it, matter of fact. Yet you always want to be closing. Hey, when can we get together? That's a great question. And in our short time, I could talk hours about that. I'd like to go deeper with it or have a bigger conversation around it, or however you want to word it. Can we get together? I mean, I got time probably Tuesday if you guys want to do that, or whatever the case may be, right? Always ask for the appointment, and then always back to how do you want to communicate? Now, in this slide here, it's asking, when you're asking for the appointment, which format do you think is most effective for asking for the appointment? Which one thinks going to give more success? Text message, email, phone call, in person?
In person.
In person. Jason, in person.
In person.
In person.
In person.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be whatever is really convenient for the other person, how they communicate.
Sorry, I had to push a button. I hadn't pushed one in a while. Yes, I would have to agree with that as well. Okay, in the sense that it depends on the individual and it depends on the relationship. Right? We already went through the whole phone call. How many of you don't answer the phone when it rings? You avoid it, right? I'd rather look. There are real estate agents out there that will not answer the phone. I didn't personally do it. I just had, it was either in one of the Facebook groups, or it was actually one of the agents in my office that posted this whole thing of screenshots of, hey, give me a call when you got a chance. Email me, email me, email me, email me. Like the other side would not pick up the phone and have the conversation. They just won't do it. Now, one of the programs I use when I list houses, I don't have my showing time. They have to call me in order to schedule it. And it says in call listing agent, and they still text. Matter of fact, a lot of them still text and just go, I want to show you your house at 2:00 tomorrow. What's the combo? They don't say who they are. They don't say what company there's nothing there. And my business partner and I will text back when we get those and go, give me a call. When's the best time to call? Or we pick the phone up and call. They don't answer. And then they want to text later. It's a whole thing. So it does depend on who you're communicating with. What's their method of communications? Now, a couple slides ago, earlier on this evening, we talked about it. What's their best method of communications? If you know that, then all of them can work. They all can work. Like I just set an appointment by text message. I used the right words and I got her to finally give me a call, and we set it up and we talked, and we're moving along. She might be on hold for 6 months, yet we're making progress from where we were before. So they all can work. In the end, if they can meet and have a good enough reason to meet, they will meet.
Mhm.
We got to know what's going on with them. And if they don't, they won't. And that's all okay. You guys, I'm name dropping like crazy. I got to stop watching. I started watching podcasts and stuff. You guys know who Mel Robbins is? Mel Robbins, not Tony Robbins. It's different. I don't even think they're related, to be honest with you. But Mel Robbins is another speaker. I just watched her do one, and she has a whole new philosophy. It's a book, and it is let them. Let them. If they don't want to meet, let them. If they don't want to come, let them. It's okay. There's enough business out there for everybody. The whole concept of I can't tell you how I lead generate or the systems and the tools and the models that I use because you're going to take business from me. Yeah, no, my demographic and my target audience is different than yours. My geo farm is different than yours. And besides, there's 335 million people in this country. And what, 1.6 million real estate agents? I think there's enough business for all of us. So improve your conversion rates. Conversion rates are huge. First off, time block. We talked about that a little bit earlier. We must time block. You must put it on your calendar. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. I'm getting yelled at by my coach right now because I forget to put stuff on my calendar and I overwhelm myself. So I know what I'm talking about. I'm guilty of it. None of us are perfect. We're all guilty in some way or another. We all have room for improvement. So trust me, I'm there in a lot of cases as well. Use systems and conversations. Use systems in your conversations and conversations. So use your CRM, use Command, use the tools inside of Command for communications. Now, I will caution you on this when I say use the tools inside of Command for communications. I am a TCPA trainer. Matter of fact, I'm probably the only one in the country that actually teaches a class on it. I know I'm the only one inside of Keller Williams that does, because I've had to have conversations with the attorneys at KWRI in Texas directly, because I knew more than they did about it. You cannot communicate without consent. It's a little bit deeper than that. January 27th, the new rules are going in place, and it's going to impact how we do business. So be very mindful that if you're calling, texting, and emailing, that you have consent. And when I say consent, I'm going to tell you right now, written consent. I actually have it because I'm going to teach this class tomorrow. I actually developed a consent to communicate agreement to where I put this in front of people. so that I have consent to communicate to them. Here's the bonus. A lot of people are like, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to turn somebody off. I'm not going to be that person, or whatever they want to say. My camera got small on this one. I got to make an adjustment. If I can put this in front of them and explain this to them, and they understand it, and they give me their phone number, their email, and their address, and they sign it and they agree to it, I have circumvented the entire TCPA and canned spam, and I have permission to do whatever I want with these people.
Oh my
In
God, yes.
addition to that, I also got them to sign something.
Yeah.
And because I got them to sign something, how much easier do you think it might be for me to get them to sign my listing agreement, my buyer agreement? If I can build trust and rapport to get them to sign this, I've gotten them in the habit of signing their name and doing what I'm asking them to do. It's just one more step to get them to sign my listing agreement or my buyer agreement. So be mindful. Yes, you can use the systems and tools when you follow up, but there are rules with TCPA. Connecting with your database, the whole database, Frank, the whole database. I don't care where they are or what they do. I don't care what country they're in. Well, I kind of do. We're not in every single country. We're in a lot of them. If they're in another country, talk to them. First, go find out if there's a Keller Williams Market Center out there, right? Because not everybody does real estate the way we do. And if there is a market center there, start making friends with people in that market center so you have people to give those people that you know in that country or that state or that city. Build the relationships outside of the database to support the database. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right. Prioritize and qualify leads. There's a whole ABC lead aspect to where if they're an A buyer or an A seller, I'm going to talk to them more. They're going to be doing business sooner than later type situation. So you got to be mindful of that. Prioritize them. If they're really interested, you got to be on top of them more. You can't ignore the people that aren't, because you never know. What's one of the main reasons somebody does a transaction? One of the main reasons people do they buy or sell.
They want what you got.
Okay. What else? One main reason that controls all transactions.
Did you say life change?
I did not, but that's the answer.
That's what I thought.
Thank you, Michelle. Yeah, life events, right? New job, retirement, kids, empty nesters, health, loss of job. It doesn't matter. Life events are it's probably the number one factor for people to buy and sell a home. Yes, there are people that are like, oh, you know what? I've been in this small place for so long, it's time for me to get something bigger. Or in my case, I got more dogs. I need something bigger, right? Whatever the case may be. I shouldn't have said that because they have left me alone all night now that I said it when I was going to come in here. So life events are the main trigger. So we can't just pay attention to the now people. This is the importance of being the first or second person on their mind, right? We looked at the data already about how many worked with the first agent they come across. Where do you think they find that first agent they come across? To just go back a little bit. Where do you think one of the number one places they find that? Other than what they said about referrals from friends and family. There you go. That's it. That was fast. Open houses. Because it's a whim. I'm out and about and I'm doing something. I'm looking on Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever. There's an open house. I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to be up that way. I'm golf, whatever, hiking with Jason, whatever. Maybe I'll stop by on the way home or on the way out and just take a look at this place. I'm not really like, I'm just starting. I'm not in a hurry. And they walk in and all of a sudden there's Sarah. And she just blows my socks off. She's amazing. She knows everything. She answered all my questions, treated me well, knew what to say. And I'm like, you know what? I think I am actually ready. I don't want this house, but it's not quite right. But can you show me some others? And Sarah's going to go, absolutely, I can. Let's go down the street and meet at that coffee shop, or would you rather slice a pizza? Let's go. Let's go sit down and talk about it. Sign here. right? Matter of fact, it's even gotten easier for us. A lot of people have been upset over the NAR settlement. The NAR settlement's been a benefit to us because we've gone out in the past. We weren't supposed to then either. They're just really enforcing it now. Agents would go out and show houses without any buyer agreement. And then that buyer would all of a sudden wander off or show up to Sarah's open house and be like, I'm buying this house with you. You're cool. And I got no buyer agreement to protect me. So a buyer agreement's a great thing. You should have it signed every time. And obviously now you cannot show a house without one. So huge bonus, right? Lead conversion model: capture, connect, cultivate, and close. That's it. In short, capture the lead, do everything you can to connect with that lead, keep cultivating that lead. That's the follow-up part. Keep following up, keep talking to them, stay in communications. When that event happens in their life and they're ready to do it, all you're going to do is ask for the appointment. And they're going to go, yeah, let's talk. More likely they're going to say no if you're not in contact with them because you haven't built the relationship. It's always about they know us, they like us, and they trust us. And through all the processes from capture to connect to cultivate, the whole time, all I'm doing is building my rapport, building my relationship, providing my value, showing them my value, making sure they know I'm here when they're ready. And sometimes your phone call can say just that. Hey, when you're ready, let me know. I'll check in with you later. That's it. Doesn't have to be anything more than that. I know you're looking. We'll get there. I'm here when you're ready, right? All right, thoughts, comments, excitement, joy, pain, sorrow. We've come to the end. We've got time, so we're going to do the whole Q&A thing. We got a lot of time for Q&A, matter of fact. Normally, I'm getting right to the end of it, but this actually went really smooth. So what comments, what questions do you have as you guys fill out another survey for me, please and thank you. You don't have to. It's not like I know who does or doesn't. They don't tell me. They just call me up and say, you're in trouble. So
Did you
everything
say
we've
that
gone
the
over tonight,
law-
what do we got?
Did you say that the law was changing on January 27th and you're no longer able to reach out to people unless they give you consent formally?
You've never been able to do it technically with the TCPA. And yes, January 27th is when everything goes in, and written consent is the primary focus on everything.
Do you know if is it the DRE? Yeah. Do you know if the DRE is going to create some type of form that we can ask?
Nope.
No. So we just have to ask and then what? Send something over and say, hey, can you sign this? Like,
So yes, like I said, I have a TCPA class. I'm teaching it for 2 market centers in Michigan and a title company in Michigan this week and next week. And it's a 2-hour class, and it's extremely deep and in depth. And with the new changes for January and April, it's a huge thing. So I would ask you all, it's super important. And for you guys that don't know, we need to talk about TCPA more, and we're supposed to cover in every class we do. This is why I bring it up in the fashions I do. I don't start off with a class of don't do it. I tell you exactly why you shouldn't do it. For those that don't know and that are newer to Keller Williams or just newer to the business in general, Gary paid out $40 million last year to settle a TCPA do not call lawsuit. Currently, Zillow has a new class action suit that just opened up January this year. And one of my case studies I have is Caldwell Banker just started settlement processes on one of theirs in December. They're trying to get it finalized. So don't freak out. You can still call people. You can still talk to people. There's just a right way and a wrong way to do it. So if you want to learn, get my information. Like I said, I put it in the chat. So if you save the chat, hopefully you got it. I'll put it back up in just a minute as well. Let your leadership know that I'll be more than happy to provide that class for you guys. and give best practices around it. So it's a lot.
Are we
I don't
able
want to answer too directly because
watch?
it
Are
will
we able
open
to
a can
watch
of
the
worms.
video that you're going to be doing, or the class you're going to be teaching? Like, are you doing a Zoom for that class?
These are paid for classes for them.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. Any other questions? I'll take any of them. The last book that I just gave you guys was Your First Home. Uh-oh, you're not saving the chat?
It's
What?
not giving me the option to save it. I've been having this issue on all of our calls. I can't save any of the chats.
Uh-oh.
And it won't even let me do like a copy paste.
I'm having the same problem.
Uh-oh.
I am too.
But I do
Listen.
wanted to ask you, and there are a lot of people were asking, what about the farming that we're already doing and stuff like that? Are we able to do that type of stuff, or are we supposed to get consent for that as well?
So if you're going to somebody's door, you don't have to worry about it. If you're putting something in the mail, you don't have to worry about it when it comes to TCPA and all that stuff. If you are randomly grabbing phone numbers from some random place on the internet to try and call people, then that's a no-no. If you're grabbing random emails just to send random emails to people, that's also a no-no. You have to have consent to communicate to them, excuse me, if you're going to communicate that way, which is the important part about capturing their information. Now, like the scenario I gave you guys earlier of, hey, here's my business card, and I got their phone number. Ask them right then and there. Written consent is the primary thing, yet there is the express consent. So I can at least call you. So if Cindy wants my business card and I'm like, here's my digital one, what's a good number to send it to you? You know, you should be asking at that point, hey, is it okay if I reach out to you or follow up with you in a couple of weeks just to check in and you know, finish answering that question, whatever. So the art of having the conversation when you meet people is very important. And if they go, yeah, that's cool, give me a call, there's your express consent. Once you get that and you start reaching out, you really need to find a way to build that rapport to send them the document, a document to get the written consent. Lead aggregates such as online leads, that's another whole thing. Part of the reason why this all came around and what we're dealing with in 2025 is what they call closing the loophole in lead generation. Because when you go online and you click yes, submit, like you agree to terms and conditions, that's where the selling of your data comes in. So when you say yes, your information goes to a ton of people. And the new rule is one-to-one consent. So if you go to our websites, KW websites, we're already on top of this. And a lot of that's got to do with the 40 million Gary paid out. So he knows what he's doing. We have open house lead capture websites. You can go right to your agent website and create an open house lead capture. And on that, when it's there, it expressly says, by clicking this box, I consent to Matt Verdon calling, texting, blah, 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 because it's me. And that's the one-to-one consent they're looking for. So, but again, it's deeper than that, and it's not an end-all be-all. There's plenty of ways to get out and lead generate and capture people's information and do it correctly. So, I'm checking something. Any other questions? I'll answer more about TCPA, but it's not going to do any good when I'm just giving you little snippets.
So I just have a question on that to just confirm. So if I have a house that I'm selling and somebody is a lead and it comes into my lead as command and I have their email address. So you're saying that that's okay then if I were to reach out to them in an email because I would have their consent because they've already gave me that? Depending
on the verbiage. I missed how you're capturing the lead.
So I'm not really sure myself because I'm new on this, but like I was selling a house in the Hopkins area and then all of a sudden they clicked on my ad and then all of a sudden then they came in, they popped into my database. So they with an email and their phone, not their phone number, but just an email, and then
Yeah, that's a fake lead, by the way, just so you know.
okay. All right.
So for the new people that don't know, we can't beat all the scammers. When you all of a sudden out of nowhere, you're not running a Facebook ad, you're not sharing your KW agent site or anything like that, and all of a sudden you get a name and an email and that's it. It's a fake lead. It's spam. It's junk. I would still email it back, but I promise you, if they respond, they're going to ask you to talk on WhatsApp.
Yes.
And that's right. That's junk. Don't do it. Just stay away from them. To answer your question, Angie, yes, because it was submitted through your website and the way the verbiage is on the site, it's a one-to-one consent because it says they're agreeing that you, Angie, contact them, not just a KW person. So again, as long as you're using our sites, we're very, very purposeful about that consent. So does that answer? You understand that? Okay. Anthony, were you able to copy and put in that Google Doc? Is that what I'm seeing right now? For those that need. Yes. Oh, on TCPA. Oh, that's stuff for TCPA on that Google Doc. Oh, okay. I see it now.
I had a question. Is this completely separate from like the Can Spam Act? So if I have their number or I get random numbers, can I cross-check it with the do not call registry to see if I'm allowed to call them or if they're registered to that, or do I need express consent regardless?
So no. Yes, you can access the registry. Yes, you can check numbers on the registry. That's part of what I teach in the class. It is a whole process. It is a royal pain. And it can cost up to $22,000 a year to have access to that registry. Up to, not saying it will, but it can. If they are not on the registry, every number should be cross-checked to the registry. And if the phone number is not on the registry, then yes, you're free to call it. If they are not on the registry, if they are on the registry, then no, you cannot call them and you have to have consent. So if you guys give me 1 minute, I'm going to fix this whole chat thing. And I'm going to take care of you guys. But any other questions why I fix this? Or I not fix it, but I have a solution. So
just wanted to see if you could put your contact information in the chat too, so we can reach out to you for those other classes. Thank you.
Yep, I sure will in just a minute. Any other questions? All right, I just took screenshots. So I'm going to drop the screenshots into the chat. You guys should be able to just grab those and they'll open up and you can save them right to your computer and they will have all of those names and phone numbers in there. That will solve that issue. Yep, that should be everybody that put it in there. So I'm going to leave the chat open. I'm not going to close anything down right now because I want to make sure you guys get that. You should be able to just click on it and open it, and then you should be able to save it to your computer, and you'll have everybody's contact information for those that haven't already sat down and written them out. So any other questions about tonight? Any questions on your lead follow-up or any of that other stuff?
What is the best way that you do lead follow-up? Like, what's your number one source and how productive is it for you?
You're putting me in a spot. I'm going to tell you why you're putting me in a spot, because I'm very open, I'm very transparent, and I have to admit it to myself more often than not. So I've been in a leadership role for 7 years, and I have ignored my database. I just stepped out of it the end of last year. I'm only about 2.5 months into actually technically being back in full production, and I'm basically starting over. I had a database that was roughly 5,600 people. That database is now knocked down to 1,300 people because the bulk of the people in my database were agents. I had agents from 1, 2, 3, 4 market centers in my area. And I had a massive dump of agents from people that attempted to pass their licensing or did pass their licensing, plus our broker metrics download for recruiting purposes. So I just at the end of about mid-December I think it was, around December, I think it was, finally got my database cleaned up to where I'm just now starting to reconnect with it. Follow up with that literally is though emails. You got to remember your database isn't just your CRM, your command platform. It's also your social media platforms, because not everybody that you have in your phone or in your database, you don't have everybody from social media in your phone and your database. We know more people on social media than we know in real life. Not that we don't know those people, but it's been, right? I'm old. So it's been a long time since I've seen anybody from high school, right? I've been out of the fire service I spent almost 20 years in, and I've been out for 22. My son just turned 25. I think around when he was 2, I stopped going to the firehouse. So I haven't even been around my fire department people. I worked for the police department as a dispatcher as well, and I haven't seen any of my, well, that's not true. I saw one of my cops at the courthouse during my divorce because he's working there now, but I did see him, but that doesn't count. But I haven't had contact with my database in forever. I'm literally in the process right now of reconnecting my database, and it's all being done by emails. It's being done by direct message and video. Again, video's a challenge, yet if you can do emails with videos in them, it gets people's attention. If you can do text messages with video, when we went through COVID and everything was shut down, particularly here in Maryland, I mean, KW as a whole, somebody at KW in one of the big training sessions we did online, because we shifted to online faster than anybody else at KW. And one of the conversations that we had was, because homes were selling insanely fast. We've had a nice slowdown. We're better. Still in a good seller's market, yet homes were going so fast that there were 30, 40, 50, 60. I know homes that had 100 offers on them, right? You were not getting a hold of that listing agent. And it's your job as a buyer agent to reach out to the listing agent and say, hey, I sent my offer over, you want to do your due diligence when you talk to that person. And somebody came out with the idea of send a video. Because they're so busy, they're not going to answer the phone. But if I send a text message, hey, this is Matt, just sent my buyer, John and Sue's offer over. Here's the highlights of it. My lender is such and such. My lender is going to be calling you shortly to answer any questions you have about the loan process. Looking forward to working with you. Have a great day. That's it. Video, send, text. I got better odds of them opening that up in their car and listening to that while they're driving to their next thing than them answering my phone because it's ringing nonstop. So your follow-up and your reconnecting and all of that stuff to your database, it's really going to be about what you're comfortable with and what you like to do. And one of your best databases to connect with is going to be on social media. The long journey, if you will, the long journey to connect to the database would be birthdays. Because every single day, everybody bring out your phone right now. Open up Facebook right now. How many birthdays are today? How many birthday notifications you got? There's your call list today. That is absolutely every single person you need to be talking to today. And not just the happy birthday or the little GIF or whatever that you put on their Facebook page. You need to direct message them. If you have their phone number, you need to call and or text them. That's your best way. Because who doesn't like hearing happy birthday? Yes, I have that one also. So that's your best way to really start reconnecting, and getting out there. Just say happy birthday and leave it at that. Just rekindle the conversation and then find another reason to follow up next week. So with your leads, first you got to go lead generate. You got to pick what you want to do for lead generation. Once you do the lead generation, you start getting the people in, how you did the lead generation and what you were able to learn about the people during the lead generation is what you're going to use for your follow-up. The method of that, again, goes back to what we talked about earlier. What's your best way of communicating? Text, phone call, email, carrier pigeons. Right? Good question, though. Any more? I mean, you guys got me up late. It's after 11 o'clock. The dog's probably wondering where I'm at. And she's probably stretched out all the way across the bed. I'm going to fight to get in it later. So. All right, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Hopefully it was useful and helpful. I do the best that I can do when I can do the best that I can do. So I thank you for your time. Have a wonderful night. And if you need anything, for those that wanted my contact info, don't go anywhere. If you didn't get it earlier, stand by. I almost forgot to put it back in there. Oops. Maybe if I actually did things the right way. All right. For those that needed my info that didn't get it the first go around, it's right there. You guys can reach out to me. Just be mindful I am on the East Coast. You are not. Actually, that works out. No, it's only the nighttime that's a problem. Like I said, it's 11 o'clock now. You guys are going to go out and party probably. So, what, Wednesday night happy hour? Come on. Who's not going to that right now? It's me reaching out to you at 6 o'clock my time. Some of you might just be coming home. I don't know. I don't know what you guys do in your free time. So.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Nope. Thank you guys. You're more than welcome. Club bed. Sarita. Yes. I need a nap in the afternoon. I told you I'm old. I got a birthday coming up.
When's your birthday? My birthday's coming
February,
up too.
February 28th.
That's my son's birthday. Congratulations. Yeah. Now
How
I'll
old's your
remember
son?
forever. He'll be 23.
20. The one that's in there that I should be charging rent to is 25. So.
Are we done with the recording?
Well, what? Nobody wants to hear this?
Well, I